Hey, what's up, fellow Space Marines? With the release of Space Marine 2, I've been seeing some new players that are struggling because some of the stuff isn't that well explained. And I wanted to go over some of my top tips to help new players kind of just succeed in the beginning of the game without having to learn the way I did. I've been playing since the early release, and I've learned these tips kind of just by myself, but through some other content creators as well. Jumping right into it, the first tip is to make sure you are playing together with your team. Whenever you're at the highest level of combat, you're going to want to stick with your team, and at the lowest level, you're also still going to want to stick with your team. Only whenever you're a really high level Marine and playing and lower level content are you going to want to stray off by yourself and look for gene seeds or guardian relics or armory data. At the very beginning and at the highest level, you're going to want to stick together at all times to help if someone gets grabbed by a lictor, if someone gets grabbed by a ravager. If anything like that happens, you're going to want to be very close together to make sure that you can save each other. Tip number 2, always comb through the levels with extreme care. This one is probably one of the most important, and since it is the only way you can actually increase your gear, armory data is hidden throughout the level. You will have random boss encounters that will drop armory data at the level of the mission's difficulty, but to find the other armory data, and oftentimes the only one in the level, you're going to have to comb through the entire level and check corners. There is specific spawns. I've seen some people are still working out exactly where armory data can spawn on every single map, and as soon as I have that information, I will share it with you all. But right now, there's a couple spots you can check, but other than that, just comb through very, very closely, because you also want to look for gene seeds, which will actually give you almost enough XP to make it seem like you're playing on the one difficulty higher. It's always an increase of about 30% for XP, which equates to about 300 plus XP. And whenever you play on the higher difficulty, that's the 300 plus, if you get a gene seed, it's plus 280. So it's almost the same as playing as one difficulty up. So keeping an eye out for gene seeds and armory data will help you to level up your characters and level up your gear. Third tip, following up on this point, you want to look out for these crates. These small stacks of green crates are actually called a supply crates and can be found throughout the entire level and hold every kind of loot that can be found throughout the level. You can find ammo, armor boosts. Armor boosts are actually really common to find, all kinds of grenades, and even stims to help you recover the health for your team, and even overheal to heal the mortal wound status. Tip number 4, overhealing is very, very important to understand. Gene seeds are actually incredibly hard to keep a hold of due to them having to take the place of the guardian relic, which the guardian relic allows you to pick yourself up, and if you have inflicted, will heal the mortal wound status effect. The mortal wound status effect is the status effect that makes it to where instead of going down, on your next down, you just die and have the reset timer of 60 seconds, increased by difficulty. The way to heal the mortal wound status effect outside of the guardian relic is to use stim packs, and when you use a stim pack where the health received will go beyond the health bar, this will also heal the mortal wound status effect. The Bulwark is actually a really incredible character to help you all overheal it, or just themselves at the very beginning. Using their standard, they're able to place their standard and the chapter banner, and are able to then get a execution gunshot, and it will automatically heal all their health up to full, and then injecting a stem will immediately heal the mortal wound status effect. Later on in the Bulwark's tree, which I will be releasing a full Bulwark guide, because that's actually the character I've been maining since I started back in the early release. The Bulwark gets a perk that allows the contested health to full to apply to their entire team, which will allow them to all inject a stem and all heal mortal wounds. Very, very good thing. Very, very good to know. Tip number 5 is make sure to listen to the recommended level. This one seems like a no-brainer once you've played for a little bit, but a lot of players would be extremely frustrated and have been making quite the ruckus on Reddit, Facebook posts, everything. Forum posts talking about the game being too hard, and a lot of those people are just jumping to what they want to play, which is average difficulty, or what they would consider like veteran difficulty, the substantial, or there's jumping straight up to ruthless, and none of that is a good idea. I personally have done SL1 runs in every Dark Souls game, and often play on the hardest difficulty every chance I get in every game I play. That being said, you're going to want to start on the easiest difficulty in this game and probably level up to just the recommended each and every single time. And no, don't feel bad if whenever you get to level 10 or so or 15 that recommended level is still seeming too high. It's honestly just better to continue to grind on the lower difficulties to level up your gear, get armory data to level up weapons, trying out different weapons, because even if you did have the skill to jump to the 3rd or 4th difficulty, you physically cannot progress in your weapons tiers because you need armory data from the lower difficulties. So it is always recommended to grind up on the lower difficulties, collect that armory data, and go from there. Bonus tip, because top 5 tips sells better than top 6. Weapons are leveled across all classes and operations, and cosmetics are gained across PvP and PvP. So leveling up weapons that are available across a lot of classes, such as the bolter sidearm and chainsword melee weapon, are highly recommended, as you will be able to give an immediate jump in power to the other classes that are using these weapons instead of them starting from fresh. And the cosmetics you gain from winning operations and playing operations are gained both in PvE and PvP, allowing you to very quickly gain all the cosmetics for a class. I personally was playing Bulwark all throughout PvE, probably for 15 plus hours, and I had a lot of cosmetics unlocked. I played the PvP for, I'd say, 4 or 5 hours, and I played Heavy. Heavy now has almost the exact same cosmetics as my Bulwark, because PvP matches are significantly faster. You can win them significantly faster, allowing you to unlock the, I do believe it's the gauntlets, are the wins in operations or PvP. And that's how you can just very quickly, if you're doing it on both, like Bulwark, both PvE, PvP, you're going to unlock cosmetics fast. If you're doing Sniper and you're doing PvP and PvE, you're going to unlock all your cosmetics very fast. So if you just want to get drippy as fast as possible, you can just sit there and use the same character in both. You want to power level it to the absolute max. You're going to want to go all Eternal War until you have all your cosmetics unlocked, which will actually probably not even take a full day, probably half a day. But this was the video. I hope that you guys find these tips helpful. If you did, make sure to leave a like and comment. Share this with your friends. I'm going to be making more content involving helping newer players at this game. Maybe even setting up class guides for each and every single one. Like I said, the Bulwark class guide will be coming out soon. And I'll be giving some beginner tips and then some more advanced tips.